and welcome to the Dear Abby Dolliver Show. I'm Superintendent of Schools Abby Dolliver, and I'm thrilled to have 3 guests with us today. So we'll start with introductions. So if you would start, Mrs. Urgitis, and introduce yourself, and then tell us what your role is here in Norwich Public Schools.
Hello, I'm Karen Urgitis. I am the Coordinator of Instructional Technology and Learning Resources at the district.
Thank you.
And I'm Patricia Menno-Covney, also known as Mrs. Menno.
Okay.
I'm a library teacher, a library media specialist, and also the coordinator for the library department in the district.
Thank you. If you would introduce yourself.
My name is Thomas Martin Moriarty. I'm a 6th grader.
Okay, we're glad to have you. We love when we can have students on our panel. So we will get to you, Thomas, pretty soon. We're going to start with you, Mrs. Urgitis, and talk a little bit about your background and what leads you to this role that you have. And then Mrs. Menno, we'll have you follow up.
Well, my background actually started in high school, and I can recall asking my parents for a calculator for Christmas because it was something new, something innovative. And after getting the calculator, our school received a mainframe computer and developed a course. And I think I was one of the 10 people that signed up for it. And I really got very interested in the computer and the technology and asked my guidance counselor about careers in technology. So I started off as a programmer, and then I started working in my kids' schools as a volunteer, saw that they were getting computers, and it just flew from there.
Great, thank you. Ms. Menno.
My own association with technology, well, it's certainly can't miss it. It's around here all the time. But my father, I like to think he might have been an influence. He was great for gadgets. But then my love for libraries. It's a place where technology takes root, and you see it all the time there. So when I got my master's in library science, it was a perfect blend of literacy and technology.
That it was, and you certainly, both of you, utilized both. So talk to me a little bit about the major changes that you've seen since you've been drawn to the this area of expertise. But what are some of the major changes you've seen in the last 5 years in our schools or in general in how we look at library, how we look at instructional technology? And we'll start with you.
Well, I'd say the biggest change is in the students. They are much more savvy. I learn from them all the time. Just try to stay one step ahead with all the different technological advances and devices that are available now, and certainly the internet. It just explodes with more possibilities all the time. So in the last 5 years, just leaps and bounds, which makes it all the more exciting.
I guess I'll do a quick follow-up question to that. I'll sound old, but I guess I am. But in the old days, you know, when I went to library, we had library. So you would go and you would select your book. So how does that work now when you talk about how much technology and how our students are so connected to technology? I feel I'm pretty connected too, but how do you link the two so that library, as we knew it for literacy, in books itself? Or is that not the case?
Oh, definitely. As soon as they enter the library, I mean, to check out a book, it's an automation system. So it's all online catalog. You can search on a computer to see what resources we have in a library. But in order to have a child fully integrated with technology and to do research and find information, you have to have computers. And that's where I particularly help students to find that information using different websites or different programs on a computer.
Okay. What's changed in your mind?
Well, over the last 5 years, the biggest change has been the network upgrades. And I know that you don't see the network. It's like at home getting a new furnace or a new plumbing system. You don't see it, but you need it. And our network has gone through major upgrades, from cabling that runs the wires to the building. We have fiber optic cables that go between the buildings. We have new switches and servers, the devices that help navigate through the network. All of that is part of the infrastructure upgrades that we've seen over 5 years. You need that in place before you can put the end user devices, the computers. And we have a lot of diverse technologies in the district.
Can you talk to us a little bit about, we talk a lot about one-to-one technology. We're almost there. What does that mean? What do we have? What does Thomas get to use when he's in school? What do our other students get to use to expand their knowledge?
Right. Well, one-to-one means that students have access to a device, and it could be a different device. Our pre-K to grade 2 students primarily have access to iPads or tablet devices. It's more age appropriate for them. Our students in grades 3 through 8 have more access to devices such as desktop computers, laptop computers, and our newest device is a Chromebook, which is an internet device. That enables the students to do a lot more research and composing than they would so on an iPad.
What if you, I'm going to change up my questioning a little, Thomas, so we can hear from you. If you had your choice and you listened to what some of the technology is, if you came into the Library Media Center at the 6th grade academy, what would you select to work with and why?
I would select to work with a computer. Basically, it's like an iPad except enlarged, and and there are different applications that help your search and findings.
That's great. If you had your choice to grab a book off the shelf and read the book, or do a Kindle book, or some other Audible, that's a lot what I do, listen to books, what would you do and why?
I would listen to story tale books because I just like how most of the time the authors read their own book and they find a way to put it on these simple little devices for your hearing pleasure.
And you can follow, right, by listening. You have
Yeah.
to like focus and then really pay attention, and then you get the intonation in their voice and you get to understand the story.
Yes.
It's great. So we know, because we've had to purchase computers probably at home, or devices or phones or iPads, or wished that we could. So I guess what I'm going to ask is, what does that look like for a district our size in funding? How do we do it? How do we possibly afford, on a limited budget, to provide students like Thomas and the ones in our audience with the technology that they need?
So I would like to jump in for a moment.
Sure. Please
talk
do.
about Kindles. Yes,
Oh,
we
do that.
offer those.
Yeah.
At Stanton School
great.
and at some other schools too, that they can actually borrow a Kindle reader. And on that Kindle reader is a little mini library. You have 30, 40 books, and they can check them out, and they return them, obviously, so that another child can check them out. But it is the trend,
Yes.
e-books, and as you say, audiobooks, and the ease to have these devices and load new books onto them so quickly and easily. It's just something I want to promote, and something that I feel is the trend.
And I guess, you know, when you think about it, we're trying to help engage students in reading. So just listening may not do that. It helps you to hear a story. But looking at a Kindle where you have to follow the words and listen at the same time, I don't know. Or did the Kindle's just you read, you don't hear, correct? Right.
But there are so many websites offered these days that have e-books available, accessible to anybody on the internet, and yet they read to the students, or it's so amazing, the technology, how they
Right.
appear to be a real book.
So to me, it really doesn't matter. It's if you're a visual learner or you're an audio learner. I don't think that's the right word, but whatever works for you, as long as people are reading,
Yes.
then we're happy.
Yes.
We're happy if people are reading. Do you like to read? Oh, good. So we talked a little bit about all the technology, and we started to talk a little bit about how do we get the funding for
get it?
that?
Right.
So,
Well, our budget does include the hope for 20% replacement every year. The more technology we get, the more difficult that number is to achieve. So we aggressively seek grant programs, and that's where I would say the majority of our technology comes from. Whether they be highly competitive state or national grants, or more selectively competitive state grants like for alliance districts. Local grants, we've had community organizations help us with grant funding. And we also have E-rate reimbursements that we get for some of the technology services we receive. So we're pretty aggressive at looking for grants and looking for the opportunities.
so talk a little bit about E-rate, just so people understand what that is without getting too
Yeah,
complicated.
very, very difficult topic. It
Yes.
was something that started in 1932 to help schools and libraries fund telephone costs, so we wouldn't have to incur the monthly charges. And it's the reimbursement amount that we get is based on free and reduced lunch rate. All of those formulas taken into account, we're losing funding on the telephone part, but we're gaining more funding on the internet part. And just for an example, to have internet access in our district can cost us $130,000 a year just to have the internet. We get 85% of that reimbursed.
That's good.
So
good.
we look toward the variety between grants, E-rate funding.
Just this past week at the Board of Education meeting, I announced 2 new grants.
Okay.
One was for, something like $1.2 million.
Yes.
And one was for about $80,000.
Correct.
So that's just an example. Can you talk a little bit about those?
Sure, sure. The larger grant was for alliance districts only, and it was for both technology upgrades and building upgrades. And in the past, we had received other grants for technology upgrades. So this one kind of went half and half. I would say building construction has about 600,000 of it. We always have network upgrades. Every time we think we're done or at a point where we could breathe a little, we find that we need more. We need to upgrade
We'll
more.
probably never be done.
Never be done. And we keep bringing more technology in. The other grant was actually written about a year ago. The funds were held up, so none of the school districts, and this was pretty much an entitlement. We were allowed to ask for $22 per student, and that's why it's an odd number. And that was strictly, in our case, for end-user technology. So it will be more carts of Chromebooks to go to the schools to get to that ratio of 1-to-1.
I would like to, if I might,
I would like you to.
to mention how grateful I am to the technology department behind the scenes, because, yes, you mentioned last 5 years, what big differences there have been in the equipment and the software and streaming video, et cetera, that
Yep.
before
Right.
take forever, but no, they have done a tremendous job in providing all these.
It's hand in hand, you know.
Yep.
And I know at any event I go to at Stanton, when you're there, you have a camera.
Oh, yes.
And
I
you're
see.
always taking videos and putting it into the classrooms and
Right, part of our
working with
morning.
students and the morning news, and it's always so very well done and engaging for students. So I'm sure some of our students that are in the audience were at Stanton. They probably remember it. What elementary school did you go to, Thomas?
Uncas Elementary.
Okay. So you didn't have that benefit, but in other ways you did of technology. So we get grants, right? And we write grants. So what dictates, like, who gets them? So how do we decide that, Stanton would get one, or Uncas Elementary, or where do we place our technology? And then I know testing now with a lot of the assessments that we do. We'll talk a little more about that.
It's, for student technology, it's based strictly on the numbers. And we crunch the numbers. Every time we get a shipment, we check to see, okay, where does this school stand? And I think we have 4 that are at the 1-to-1 ratio. And that's student per device, so it's not necessarily student to computer. We count iPads and tablets as well. We have 1 school that's pending to get to 1-to-1. and then we slowly work at getting the other schools up to that ratio. So it's strictly by the numbers, strictly by the need. We also have to strategize when we have a grant opportunity, which schools would benefit the most from that particular grant, or are they even eligible?
Right, who
So,
qualifies?
a lot of formulas, right?
Because I know with Stanton, with our network funds, since it's a network school.
Right.
And some of the bond money that we received, that's enabled us to really grow probably before other schools. Now we're catching up. But having had the network for 4 years has helped
Oh,
us to grow.
definitely. I mean, that's made a big difference in that all the students aren't begging and borrowing, or teachers, to get some devices, but that they have the carts, the lab, Mac carts, plus the Google Chromebooks. It's been a learning experience for me this year to learn how to get onto the Google Classroom, but the kids love it.
I haven't tried it yet, but I
Okay,
want
but
to.
it's,
Have you tried it, Google Classroom?
Yes.
And?
It's a really great app.
Yeah.
Most classrooms have their own thing where they sign assignments on, and you gotta do the assignments on like a slide, Google Drawing, Google Slides, Google Typing, whatever it's
Great.
called.
Sounds
I forgot what
exciting.
the typing part was.
That's great.
It's been a big initiative this year to get Google Classroom implemented.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. So
Grateful for that.
how are some of the ways that you integrate technology into your classroom and to help the classrooms integrate it into their classrooms?
Well, kind of hand in hand here. I introduce these programs and devices to the students in the library, and then they can take it back to the classroom oftentimes. But again, like Google Classroom, just learning how to access this classroom that's out there, all based on the internet in the cloud. But it takes steps by steps, and each time I work with the students, it gets a little easier for all of us. And then when they can therefore use that knowledge back in the classroom to do their own projects. So I simply introduce them to the steps on how to do it, and then they go in more depth for a project in the classroom usually. Again, the Kindle devices, I allow them to circulate there, and they take them back to the classroom to read their books, plus our usual print books, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
And the software, so it just still Microsoft Word at times too. We're still using Microsoft Office, and so I introduce it to the students, and they can use it in the classroom.
That's great. What's your probably favorite thing about technology that you teach students?
Favorite? Well, the favorite, I guess, is introducing them to any new technology and then to see how they share it with each other. Suddenly, next thing I know, some student will pick up on something and show another student. And I'm sure you've done that many a time with your classmates. And I'm overhearing them and learning something new myself. So one particular device, it just keeps changing all the time.
Right.
But to hear the kids get all excited and teach each other, that's wonderful.
That's great. That's the best way to learn. So Thomas, now I have a couple of other things to ask you. Now we know that you're at the 6th grade academy. We know that last year you went to Uncas Elementary, Uncas Network School. So if you think back, did you go there all your years of elementary school, or were you in other schools?
I forgot what school I was for preschool and kindergarten,
well,
but
yeah.
pretty much
Uncas.
I've been in there for 1st grade through 5th grade.
That's great. So think back as far as you can, and what was probably one of the first times you used technology in school that you can remember?
That I can remember, I remember using it in 5th grade.
Yep,
Computer class, I forgot the name of my teacher.
that's okay.
All I remember is that she was nice.
That's good. And what'd you do with technology there?
We use Lexia Core,
Now, can you just explain for people that are watching the show? They may not know what Lexia is.
Lexia is a site that helps you with your reading, learning, and sight abilities sometimes, but
And you
mostly
can-
reading or learning.
And you can do it at home or in
Yes.
school? Did you
Yes.
do it at home? Did you use it at home?
Never.
Never.
I
Okay.
just never had a
Oh,
good time.
I got it. So But you did use it in school?
Yes,
Did you find it helpful?
very.
That's great. So now that you're at the sixth grade academy, it's a whole new school for us, whole new opportunities. You have a technology class and you have your other classes. What kinds of technology is it? Are you learning about other technologies that you didn't have in fifth grade? What other things are exciting to you about technology?
The fact that other than computers, we also have iPods and laptops, which are basically computers that can fold down and need to be charged and don't need like that outlet wire thing like a computer needs.
So they're more mobile.
Yes, more mobile
Great.
and a lot less lighter.
Oh, that's helpful. I always, when I take my laptop around, I keep saying, I need a light one. I need something light. But you're right. So do you use, if you had your choice to write an assignment, would you write it or use a computer?
Although I do thoroughly enjoy computers, every now and then I do like writing it on a piece of paper
That's good.
because it shows that I completely didn't just take it off the internet or somewhere. I
That's a
got it
really
from a
good
book
point.
or something. Because I mean, I could just cheat on the internet and go like, what is, yeah.
So you're that.
It rarely happens, however, it's possible.
That's great. Okay. So we have only a couple more minutes, but that really excited me when I heard you kind of like, that's a good way to wrap up our show. And that's because everything that these folks do, you are using it appropriately because you're not just saying no more books, you're not saying no more pencil or paper, you're not saying it has to be all technology or not. You're saying, and what we look to do in our classrooms is to integrate everything, and you gave us a great example of how you do that, so we appreciate that. So I thank you all for all of your work with our students and you in our school. I also want to let our audience know that Comcast has a special offer for internet in our families' homes for $9.95 a month for parents in Norwich. So people can look on our website to find information about that, or our homepage. But again, keep looking for grants, keep teaching students how to use technology, and keep using it, but also integrate, because I think that's a great thing. And then teach all your friends, the students that are here from sixth grade academy with us on how to use it too. So we thank you very much.
Thank you, too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.